the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Off the inside, intercepted Alabama, touchdown.
And everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sportz Blitz Live.
Good Saturday morning out there to everybody, and welcome into the Sportz Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Brett Pritchard and Randy Lee here with you till 9 o'clock, getting your Saturday morning started. We want you to join us. You can call us 256-234-6221, or you can chat away with us on Facebook Live. You can go to our Facebook page at Sportz Blitz Live. That's sports with a Z. And you can chat with us throughout the entire program. A lot to go over on this Saturday morning. Alabama in play tonight against Mississippi State. They'll try to rebound off of a loss against Tennessee. Auburn will be off. They've been off a lot this year. But they'll officially be off today with a bye week. We'll talk about that, a lot of recruiting news as far as where teams stand at this point. Basically about a little over a month away from the first signing period. Some people look really good, others don't. I mean, I'll leave it out there for –
a lot of the same culprits on both sides.
That's exactly right. So we'll love to hear from you out there. Get us your comments and your calls. Some great high school football last night as we'll stay locally here first. You and I on the road with the Benjamin Russell Wildcats against Helena last night. And the Wildcats came out really out of the gate, was able to get a couple of field goals from Noah Alsabrook. He had a tremendous night kicking the football and allowed us to get on the board and kind of get flowing as far as offensively. And then we were able to connect and put a couple touchdowns on the board and extend that lead. And our defense played well from the opening gun, immediately shutting them down, putting them in bad situations, not allowing them to get any of those long, sustained drives going like Coach Grider and I talked about before the game in the locker room. That was their mojo. They wanted 8, 9, 10, 11 play drives, 3 yards in a cloud of dust and wear you down. And once we jumped up on them, Randy, it really kind of forced them out of their game plan, and we ran away with the football game. Impressive road win by the Wildcats to improve to 7-2 overall on the season. They'll have one more regular season home game with the Valley Rams, and that'll be senior night next Friday night at the Sportplex. And then it's off to the playoffs, and it looks like it'll be Hueytown for the Wildcats opening the first round on the road. We'll break down region standings and all. I'll also be remiss if I don't mention Davil right now out of the gate. This is a powerful football team in 3A that's currently ranked 7th. They'll jump up after what they did to Randolph County last night at home. It wasn't even close. It was one of the top matchups in the state, but Davil annihilated them, didn't do anything but run the football in the second half. They've gotten better every week. Tremendous football team there, and the Reeltown Rebels, an old school, like you mentioned on the radio, went for 2 on the road against an unreal Highland home team, a very talented Highland home team. That was for a region championship. They score late and go for 2 and get it and beat them 8-7. Tremendous football in this county right now between Reeltown, Davil, and Benjamin Russell.
I'm going to randomly start with Reeltown, and the reason I want to start with Reeltown is I've watched in the youth program how much that sport means to that community, and they make it very important to everyone that's involved, Brett. And you watched it. You know, right. Braden came through, and he played against some Reeltown teams, and they start them. I think they may start them as low as 6 years old, and they get that group together, and then they build them up, and they market it, and the families and the parents get into this thing.
It's a community deal.
It's a community effort to put a product on a field when they're 16, 17, 18 years old. And the product year in and year out shows. Right, and then they go and they hire a coach or advance within a coach that was built up in that program as well, won a state championship as a player in that program, and Coach Johnson. And, Brett, I think they went back to a little bit more of a spread open attack last year. It's not they went back to it. They went to it for the first time.
Right.
And then they reeled it back in. I think they're more in that power scheme that they've always been known for back to Jackie O'Neal days. And I don't know that you want anything with Reeltown. I've seen some of their athletes. I've watched a little bit of their highlights. my friend, they got athletes that can match up with anybody in that classification, and they love it. They're passionate about it, and you kind of recruit that area. So for those that don't really know about Reeltown, talk about that community first, and then we'll move over to Dayville because you can't say enough good things about them either.
You know, historically, it's been important for them from a football standpoint to be good. And, again, smaller communities a lot of time rally around their high school, and they rally around what goes on Friday nights in the fall. Not to say that other sports aren't important, but everybody comes out to the football games and supports in these small communities, and Reeltown's no different. I mean, when you travel around and seeing the historical form of what they've been able to do as far as winning state championships, it's an expectation when you live in Reeltown that, hey, look, year in and year out, we're going to compete for state championships and region championships. And, you know, that's kind of ingrained in these kids, like you said, in the youth program. And when you have history in a community like Reeltown, like Dayville, like Alex City, where it's important, high school football, not just high school football, but good, solid high school football where you're expected to go to the playoffs every year. When you have some down cycles, people are antsy. They go, what's going on here? Because it's like a calendar every year. You know, it's summertime, it's football season, it's Thanksgiving, and it's Christmas. And when you're not in the playoffs, everybody's world's kind of thrown upside down. It's like, well, I don't know what to do when we're not in the playoffs. So that's what you know, Coach Johnson's done with Reeltown, and that's what Roger McDonald's reinstated at you know, Dayville. It's what Kyle Caldwell's putting back into Elmore County, a Dayville Tiger product. And I looked at them; they win last night. They're going to the playoffs, man. They were 0-10 last year, and they're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, they're not sneaking into the playoffs. Did they win 6 or 7 games this year?
I think they're 6-3 going into the last game.
And they're playing extremely well.
And they've got Jemison the last game, who has, I think, won 1 football game this year. So barring some kind of upset, Elmore County is going to go from 0-10 to 10-0. I mean to 7-3. And Kyle Caldwell was part of a Dayville Tiger program that went 0-10 to 10-0. I think it's the only program that's ever done that in state history, that went 0-10 one year and then came back and ran the table the next year. I mean, so he knows what it's like to go from one extreme to the next, and he's instilled in a very small amount of time belief in that program. Hey, look, well, you can win here, man. If you buy into this, I mean, this was a team that a week before the season started didn't even have enough helmets to put on kids. I mean, and I know he'll write that chapter in his book and where he came and what he inherited to where they are now, and I know they're not done either. Smitty Grider, the same thing. Benjamin Russell, you know, 4 years around here was way too long for our likings to not be in the playoffs. And, you know, Coach Grider hit the ground running in June, which is a very small amount of time to come into a 6A program with the schedule that we have and the region that we have and say, look, I got to get the trust of the players. They got to get my trust. This is their 3rd head coach in 4 years. We got to get some things turned around here at Benjamin Russell, and I don't know how fast I can do it, but I'm going to do everything I can. Well, he's done it. And here's Benjamin Russell sitting at 7-2 with 2 region losses on the road, very close, and then they've got a chance to finish out the season 8-2 and go to the playoffs again. And so all of these guys are doing a tremendous job, and you can't say enough about how much hard work and effort goes into what they've done and their staff has done. You know, let's not take anything away. Coach Krager, Coach Simmons, you bragged on them last night. Coach Simmons, on a well-coached defense, there's a couple elements about a well-coached defense. Well, Coach Simmons has got Benjamin Russell's defense playing as well as anybody. And Coach Krager, his offensive mind, you can tell his background, and we've seen it all year. That guy just knows when to dial up the right play. Now, we may not execute it every time, but it's almost the right call at that moment. And, you know, when you got coordinators like that and you got, you know, great assistant coaches up and down your line that help and coach, it's a recipe for success.
Well, as you go on that rant, I'm sitting over here thinking we're at that point in time in the year where all of the storylines come together. It makes what we do so easy. Like, we can come up here. We've got a 2-hour program this morning, and I'm looking down. We're almost done with the first segment, and I'm like, we really haven't talked about anything that I came up here and wanted to start the program out.
Right.
But that is what makes high school football and high school sports so fun to small communities. I love college football, man. I'm an Auburn passionate fan. But on Saturdays, I have very little that I'm going to add to that program that is going to mean a whole heck of a lot to the Auburn fan base.
You're just a fan.
I just am what I am. Sometimes I'm able, with you and Andy and others, to go in there and give my opinion, but it's just a fan's opinion, and I know where I stand. But when it comes to high school football, a lot of us in our communities have a hand in trying to help us have a successful product, and that's the reason I wanted to start with Reeltown, because Reeltown has been one of those programs in our local area here in Tallapoosa County that has never wavered from what they expect with their youth in football all the way up to the high school.
That's right.
I can't say the same about Elliott City.
Right.
I'm not going to sit up here and say that. Now, I think we've got a great staff that over at the Parks and Rec, led by Nick Hand, that really cares and wants to do the right thing now. But we had let that thing get to a level that it was impossible to come back from. We had let it get away from us. It was
so
like
bad. We had some type of mentality that, just wave a magic wand, and on Friday nights we're going to continue to put a top quality product out on the football field. And it takes so much more that we had gotten away from, youth league to the middle school, and middle school to the high school, and the development of all that. You can't, in this day and age, get kids over in the 9th grade and all of a sudden start teaching them everything they need to know. They need to start at a young age and progress through the rankings just like in these other communities. And you're right, Reeltown never got away from that. They've had their down years too. I mean, they haven't been a juggernaut forever, year to year. They'll have small down times, but they lose to Tallahassee this year, and then they've been on a run ever since. It's an ingrained mentality there, and you're right. We had let it get away from us there for a little while, but we've gotten it back through some hard work and effort of community people stepping up and saying, look, we want to continue to put a great product on the field. We got to help our high school.
We definitely do, and I know we're up against a break, but I want to start the next segment. I want to give everybody out there, Brett and I are going to give a full segment to what we saw with Benjamin Russell last night.
Right.
We can assure you that is going to happen this morning. But when we start the next segment, I want to talk about Dable. Dable has not had a close football game. Dable has had to go to a running clock halfway through the first half
several times,
a majority of the season this year. And Caleb Brooks, and I watched that basketball program for Dable play, and Coach Foster does a great job with them, but I see the same names. And in small communities, you just don't have enough athletes that you can have one play basketball, one play baseball, and one play football, and everything's going to be great. No, it don't work that way. If you don't get them out for every sport, my friend, you are going to get what you deserve on Friday nights. And Dable's got about 8 or 10 that I think every 6A and 7A program in the state would like.
No, look, I told you in September, at the very beginning of September, I had a chance to see a lot of their kids come over. They're seniors. I didn't get to see other than that, but their seniors come over to a college fair at Central Alabama Community College and see them walk around on that Friday. And I was like, I called you. I said, man, there's some good-looking kids in here, man. And I've told you that over the years when I've been at Prattville.
Most times you're right.
I've told you, I'm like, hey, man, Prattville don't have them this year.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, this group does. And like you said, it kind of, comes to fruition on the field. But they do have them, and you're right, up and down, 7A to 1A, anybody take these kids, and there's a bunch of them. Let's go to the phone lines real quick before our first break. Caller, go ahead. You're on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Yeah, Brett.
What's up, my man? How are you doing?
Doing all right. Sitting here looking at I can see Miller sand and gravel at the top, and it's dark.
So we're not on in Birmingham. All right, so we will get that corrected. I mean, we've been on a streak here lately, James. We've been doing well, and looks like I'm about to crank up my phone call again.
Now, I'm not trying to be ugly. You know that.
Oh, I know you're not. Y'all. Hey, well, I appreciate you letting us know. That's what we want to know. We got to know that we're not on. So, but we appreciate the phone call.
People up here in Birmingham are nuts. You could go back to the zoo and get them. I don't know what they can't get straight in the head.
He can't get officiating straight up there.
Miller's real dark. I can read him. Yeah, I can see the sign.
Well, we're gonna get that corrected here at the break, brother.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, thank you so much, and we will go to break. And for all of you out there that watch our program, we appreciate it, man. That we do. That means a lot to us for you to call and say, look, you're not on up here. I'd like to talk to you, I'd like to watch you, but we're watching a black screen. So we're going to try to get that corrected. We're going to go to break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill and Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Don't be caught in a dirty vehicle. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have your vehicle or boat looking like brand new in no time, and you'll be back driving in style. They specialize in detailing, paint correction, gel coat restoration, and ceramic coating. Take it to the professionals at Lake Martin Mobile Detailing. Call them today at 256-794-2328 or stop by and see them at 702 McCarty Road in Dadeville. Mention this ad and receive $10 off. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing for your cleanest vehicles around.
Harold Orthodontics of Ellick City has one simple mission: provide the region's most advanced diagnostic technology for you and your family's orthodontic and air passageway needs. At Harold Orthodontics, it's not just beautiful smiles, but revolutionary options for your family's orthodontic needs, as well as sleep apnea and jaw joint disorder relief. Dr. Harold and his caring staff provide the most accurate diagnosis to relieve the pain or frustration of sleep apnea and TMJ discomfort. Trust Harold Orthodontics. Call for a consultation at 256-234-6353.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
Kia of Auburn invites you to see our great selection of vehicles. The Kia brand offers something for everyone at almost any budget. Multi-purpose vehicles like the Carnival, Sportage, Sorrento, or Telluride. You prefer a sedan? Check out the Rio, Forte, Soul, or the sporty Stinger. Looking for fuel efficiency? We have many hybrids to choose from, and even our amazing electric EV models. No matter which Kia model you choose, you'll receive remarkable performance along with our outstanding warranty. Kia of Auburn, where you are always number one.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Give us a call, 256-234-6221. We do apologize about not being on up in the Birmingham area, but we're trying to work on that. So just hang with us. Hopefully we'll get that corrected.
We own our fair share of things, but not this.
We don't own that, so it's not our deal. So we're working on it, and our signal's piping from here up there. So we'll hopefully get that corrected very soon. But hey, we're going to continue on just like anybody else would, and for all of you out there that are picking us up and listening to us on the radio and watching us on Facebook Live, we appreciate it. You can get your comments in this morning. We're talking about. We're staying in Tallapoosa County right now here to open this program up. A lot to go through. We may carry high school on over a little bit into the second hour if we need to. But locally here, 3 good football teams in this county. And I love it when our football up and down the line is really good. Dadeville, Real Town, and Benjamin Russell As Randy said, we're the local broadcast team for the Wildcats. We're going to talk about Benjamin Russell's game with Helena in the next segment, but we do want to talk about the Dadeville Tigers right now. Very dominating performance all year. Kind of been under the radar in 3A football, just quietly looking at a 9-0 season. That Reeltown Dadeville game got canceled earlier in the year due to weather, field conditions at Reeltown. That was back when it was raining every single day and dropping a bunch of rain, and the field conditions were unsafe. They weren't able to get that one rescheduled. But Dadeville looking at a 9-0 mark, and, man, they have gotten stronger every week. They played a Randolph County team. It was really the marquee matchup in 3A last night. Randy, if you look down at all the matchups, it was two undefeated teams playing for a region championship. Randolph County had really blown most of their opponents out as well. But, man, I can promise you, I don't think Randolph County saw it. You didn't see it, the blowout that happened last night.
Well, you and I grew up with parents, your parents, going to high school with your dad over in Dadeville in the 60s, so
Yes.
he saw one of the best products that school ever put out. And my dad actually played or had family members to play against that team in Dadeville. And when I look down at these scores, it's because we've got this team picture that Terry Wright gave us that we kind of cleaned up for him and put all of the scores and all the superlatives from that season up, and it's at our office, so I see it all the time. And when I look at these scores, I think, my gosh, Dadeville's got another one. They got another one where the scores are mind-boggling, how far they are away from the competition. Only 8 games in, they've outscored their opponents 338-58, Brett. 338-58, and you and I knew it. When we saw that opening game, 21 of the 58 points happened in the opening week against B.B. Comer, who is a great football team.
Outstanding.
Dadeville took it to B.B. Comer, and we knew that it was watch out. They beat them 48-21 to start the season, and since then, the closest football game they've had, Sachs. I watched a decent amount of that one. It wasn't close.
Right.
Dadeville won 27-10, but it wasn't as close as that score would show. The following week, they played their worst game of the season, winning by 8 against Walter Welborn. And since then, Brett, they've won 45-0, 55-0, 53-0, and then last night they take out Randolph County 49-7. Watch out. And it's been quite some time since Dadeville won a state championship. They're only playoff state championships 1981.
Right.
Their other state championship, which I mentioned, was 1965. It was the 66 class, but 1965, and they had 3 or 4 SEC caliber players on that Dadeville team that outscored, I think, their opponents 240-20 or something like that this year. They just didn't have a close football game. But this is one that Dadeville fans will come out and support, and that's a community that will come out in droves to support.
Let me read
team.
all 3A's top 10 going into last night. Mars Hill's number 1 at 8-1.
How good are they, Brett? I haven't called one of their games.
Mars Hill's a good program, and they're relatively new.
I know they
This
are.
is a private school up around Florence. They've been to a couple, maybe 3 state championship games already, and again, they just play fundamental football that reminds you a lot of Fife in how they play the game. And I don't know who their lone losses to, but a good football team. Gordo, a team has been a nemesis for Dadeville over the years. Several years ago, we were at that Gordo game at Dadeville, and Dadeville had them beat, and Gordo makes a play, a screen pass, with like a minute and 15 seconds to go. They're backed up inside their 20-yard line. They hit like a little middle screen and break it and go all the way down and score a touchdown to really just break their hearts at the very end. I think that was a 3rd or 4th round game there. So Gordo's sitting there at number 2, but they're 8-1. Piedmont 6-2 at number 3. Houston Academy, another private school, is 8-0. But then you go down through here. Winfield, St. James, 7-1, 7-2. Dadeville came in to the game last night, 7-0, having a first-place vote all the way down at number 7. Then XL Randolph County was undefeated. That's not anymore. And then Opp at 6-2. There's some really good football teams. That Madison Academy team that we played in the preseason game is 6-2, and they're number 11, and we knew they were going to be a pretty good football team because they returned their quarterback and their running back, and they got a dynamic receiver. But saying all that, I don't see anybody in this 3A classification, if I'm Dayville, that really scares me to death, that you look at and go, man, we're going to have to play some type of unbelievable game and get some help to win. Dayville may be better than any of those teams. And, again, I haven't seen all those teams, so it's just a stab in the dark. But I'm telling you, based off of looking at what we have here on paper and the way Dayville's playing and the domination and discrepancy in scores, they may be the best team in 3A, and they're going to have a chance to prove it.
Athletically, they're going to match up with all. Schematically and just physicality standpoint, I like what Coach has done over there to bring back that pretty much ingrained in the community workman's mentality that's built in Dayville, that, we're going to slap you in the mouth. I don't care if we're 3A and we got to go up and play you at 6A Benjamin Russell. I'm probably, every time I get a tackle on you, I'm going to punch you. I'm going to, make sure that I'm here to play. And that's always been Dayville. And that is football that I like.
Oh, yeah.
Others may not like it, but I love that mentality.
We gave a dose of that in Birmingham last night, and I was good to see our edge return and see what we're able to do as far as our lines of scrimmage. We sent a message. Look, man, we ain't gonna sit here and let you have your way and just kind of get your cheap shots in. If you want to play that kind of football, we'll line up and we'll play you up until the whistle and maybe a little bit after the whistle. And that's what our guys did last night. I don't think we did anything dirty at all. I think we, just kind of sent a message that, hey, look, we're built on physical brand. We want to be physical. We want to hit you hard. Every time you run the football, you're going to get punished. And that's what, people over time go, man, I don't really like playing that team, because that resonates in their mind the next year, because they remember what happened this year, and then when it rolls around, you go, man, that was a team that for 4 quarters, man, them guys hit me up under my chin every single time, and it just sucked. I didn't want to be out there anymore. That's what Dayville does. That's what Reeltown's brand of football is, and that's what Benjamin Russell's playing this year, and that's why all 3 teams have combined for 3 losses. Think about that. Reeltown will have a chance to finish undefeated, with 1 loss to that Tallahassee team at the very beginning of the season. Dayville looks like they're going to finish undefeated.
Which is 3 classifications above.
That's a
5A play and a 2.
Absolutely.
So, I think that's important.
Put it in perspective. And then you look at Benjamin Russell. They lose 2 very close games on the road, 1 by 10 and 1 by 7. To 2 really good programs, the 2 teams that finished ahead of them in the region. And Homewood finished that region schedule undefeated. So 3 combined losses here in Tallapoosa County amongst those 3 programs. Yeah, you can't say much more than that. We're going to take a break. We come back, we're going to talk about Benjamin Russell and Helena last night as the Wildcats wrapped up region play with a big 47-14 win on the road. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
22 years selling the best brands. Opelika RV Center, Highway 280 Opelika, or shop us online 24/7 at opelikaRV.com.
You won't believe the deals you receive at Opelika RV.
Growing your business isn't just one thing. It's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done day after day. Visit ThompsonCat.com, your compact equipment provider.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Looking for an attorney you can trust for your real estate closings? Wisdom Law Firm at Lake Martin has you covered. Your real estate transactions are fast, convenient, and professional every step of the way. Wisdom Law is certified and licensed by the American Land and Title Association and approved by all local lenders. Visit Wisdom Law Firm at 6366 Highway 49 in Dadeville or at their Auburn location at 2353 Bent Creek Road. No communication concerning a lawyer's legal services shall be published or broadcast unless it contains the following language, which shall be clearly legible or audible as the case may be. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
For more than 40 years, Ingram Equipment Company has helped companies, towns, and cities with their dirtiest, most challenging jobs by providing the very best equipment and by helping them keep in tip-top working condition. IEC represents leading manufacturers such as Heil garbage truck bodies, Timco sweepers, Step pothole patchers, and many more. We proudly support all athletes and teams that compete across the state and wish them good luck this year. Ingram Equipment Company, ingramequipment.net.
22 years selling the best brands. Opelika RV Center, Highway 280 Opelika, or shop us online 24/7 at opelikaRV.com.
You won't believe the deals you receive at Opelika RV.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. You see that Sunshine Heating and Air logo across the bottom of your screen. If you're watching on TV or Facebook Live, 256-825-4849. It's an easy number to remember. And look, it's starting to get cold outside now. It's going to come right back and get warm again this week. This is Alabama now. You better not get settled in. It's going to be back in the 80s coming up this week. So, it puts those heating and air units, through the ringer, going from hot to cold to hot and back and forth. So if you have issues, you need a new unit, make sure you call Kevin Kill and his staff, Cliff, that works with Kevin down there, one of the best around.
I think Kevin's the best. I'm proud to have all of the sponsors that we have, but every time you talk about them on a segment sponsorship, I can't say enough good things. I've had 3 or 4 major issues pop up that are self-inflicted wounds most of the time, either at my home or at my office.
Right.
And if you call him,
right,
it's not that he always answers the phone.
He does.
Every single time. And then he always makes sure that he gets somebody out there as quick as he possibly can. And he'll get it fixed, and it's just not that big a deal.
He diagnoses the problem over the phone most of the time.
He tries to get me to fix it.
I know. He says, hey, if you'll just do this.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, if you don't want to clean up a bigger mess, I would suggest you go ahead and send somebody on out here so it doesn't get worse and it just lasts. But, again, that's what it's all about. I mean, his business is great. Great customer service is what makes a business to me, and they do a phenomenal job of that. So proud to have had him part of this program along with JR Sports Bar and Grill for forever. So we quit counting at about 15 years with them being a part of this program. Let's get over to the Wildcats last night, 47-14 on the road. Get out to a 6-0 start. Noah Alsabrook had a great night kicking the football, kicked with confidence. His kicks looked different. And, look, I'll go back to last Friday against Briarwood. He had to come in. It was tied up at 7 apiece. We had gotten a turnover from Briarwood, and they had held us, and he needed to come out and kick like a 34-yard field goal, I believe is what it was, and he was able to get it to go through. And, Noah had struggled a little bit, and it wasn't just all him. Like Coach Grider said before the game started, we've had our issues with some snaps and some holds and all kind of different things. There's a lot of elements that have to go right to get a kick to go through the uprights. But Noah last night was kicking a ball, and he was kicking it through the uprights with force. He was kicking with power, and it's not like he was hesitating and trying to do a little pitch and wedge shot. He was driving the ball through the goalpost, and that's what you want to see. And it's amazing how one kick can vault you to some confidence, and he made 2 early for the Wildcats.
And you and I give our player of the week every week, and I could go out and give Gabe Benton a player of the week every single week. I'm about to reel off his stats for the season, and tell me I couldn't give it to him. Tell me I couldn't give it to Malcolm Simmons or Corey Milliner or Savon Spradley. I mean, there's some that every week play. So we try to give it to somebody that has had an exceptional week.
That's
well,
that's right.
He has really upped his game, and from just an overall standpoint of going out there and knowing with confidence that you're about to play well, I thought Noah did that last night, and we need him to keep doing it because
it's crucial.
The major runs that we've had here in Elliott City have been built around an extremely good kicking game. I go back to state championship run that you were involved with, calling games a little bit after I was in school, and Brent Dye was so good kicking the football, and Richie Rhodes was so good punting the football.
That's
and
what we got a little bit, you feel right now. You got that combination.
And, Malcolm Simmons, I don't care what y'all can talk about how great an athlete he is. He's a high 4-star. I know On 3 just put him as one of their top 10 athletes in the country in next year's class. It's very deserved. He is a pro punter. Listen to me. I don't care what else he does on the football field. He punts the football with such ease and with such great hang time. He is one of the best high school punters I've ever seen. Richie Rhodes is the best one I've ever seen.
Right.
Malcolm Simmons is averaging somewhere between 45 and 50 yards a kick.
Averaging, by the way.
Hang time, ball turns over well. He's got the long, lengthy leg that is really, it's an easy flow.
Right.
If a pro wanted to work with this kid actually on punting, now, look, he loves it. He punts the football every time. I saw him after the game last night. He's about to pick one up and just kick it in the stand.
That's right. That's what he wants
but
to do.
I really think he's a pro out there. And here's a funny story around that, Brett. Kids watch everything these older guys are doing. I got a kid, and I'll say his name. He's on my little all-star football team. His name's Jordan McKenzie. He's one of the best athletes in our community right now. He's super. He's going to be an exceptionally good wide receiver in school when he gets there. But you know what he does in practice now? All the time. And I asked him the other night, I said, Jordan, you want to be Malcolm? He said, yep. That's what I want to do. And it's so funny that, a kid watches what others are doing, and then now all he's doing every time we're having a practice, we'll have a practice this morning, he'll be punting the football over there.
There you go. I mean, that's
isn't it funny how things work?
Well, I mean, kids look up to the older kids. It's a big deal. I remember, Kim, my wife's cousin, who was small at the time when Clay Harrelson was coming through and was playing quarterback and was winning championships and doing what he did. I remember him coming up to me and saying, "Hey, you think you can let me meet Clay Harrelson?" And I mean, but those are stars in smaller kids' eyes at the time, because they want to look up and go, "That's what I want to do. I want to be like them." And it's almost like a pro status in their minds.
Very proud of the way our offensive line played last night. I thought Cooper Spears in the second half played his best football game. I told his mother, who's a really good friend of mine, that it was his best game, and that's saying something. He's been starting here pretty much since he was in the ninth grade. Yes. So he was running them 10, 12 yards down the field, looked like they had skates on. He was making them like it, too, at the end of the plays. And so I was very proud of him and all the offensive front. Malcolm Simmons had 3 total touchdowns last night. He had 2 running the football and another beautiful rail route that he hit off a motion coming out of the backfield. Man, he hit it, timing, railed it down that left sideline. Gabe doesn't have a lot of time. Gabe can air it.
Yeah, he put the ball up.
Gabe can put it 60, 65 yards down the field with ease, but he had to get rid of this football quick, and he did. And Malcolm was able to make a little move back inside and catch the football and take it to the house for 58 yards. So
you don't want to match up one-on-one with our receivers. It
doesn't
matter.
That motion on a rail is different because, there is no starting on that route. When you're coming out in motion on that and you take it and you slightly go to the sideline, there's no will to this. Just slightly to the sideline and up it. My friend, at corner, you got to know immediately that that's what he's trying to do. And it's hard to do. You can mentally think that that's what he may do, but he also may cut it in on a quick slant. He may do some other things. But I love that route concept, and I thought Coach Krager dialed it up at the perfect time. Gabe Benton is starting to turn. I saw him talking to scouts after the game last night. He was 6 of 17 for 185 yards and 2 more touchdowns. I think he's up to 25 touchdowns to 4 interceptions on the season. He's up to about 2,500 yards passing. We say this about Alabama football, and we also say this about athletes. You better count your blessings while you got them around.
He's got another year.
He's got another year, but
I mean,
we ain't had them like this. Like we've had great quarterback play. Don't dare let me, and one of them you just reeled off, Clay Harris. The stats this young man's about to throw out there, we ain't never had that.
Right.
I mean,
not passing.
No, sir. He's got a chance to throw for over 3,000 yards, 30-plus touchdowns to 4 or 5 interceptions. He rushed for 76 yards last night. He looked different over there, and I think that adds an element to his game.
I was just about to say the element that he's gotten better is understanding that he's 6'4", and he can run the football whenever he wants to run it outside the pocket. And we saw him last night. You know, we need 25 yards. A play breaks down. Our guys run the defenders off, and it opens the field up for him to tuck it and run if he wants to. And he's smart running the football. He's not going to try to lower his head and run over somebody because he's a big frame kid. He protects his body when he runs, and you know, he uses the sideline to his advantage. So, but as far as an overall, all-around quarterback that has exceptional skills passing, and it's easy when you got them, like you said, to get just comfortable and used to saying, man, well, this is what we got around here. It's the norm. And then when they leave and you have a transition, you're like, ooh, you know, it kind of brings you back down to reality. So, like you said, man, when you have them, you take advantage of it.
I thought our outside backers are getting better every week. I just keep bragging on Caden Hyde and Brian Simmons on our broadcast. I know you got to get tired of hearing it, but it's every play. They play so hard. They play so fast and physical. And they were in the backfield all night last night. They didn't get a lot of sacks, but it's the pressure. And what does pressure cause, Brett, in secondary?
It disrupts and makes it easy.
It forces a quarterback to throw the ball in an area that he's not sure he wants to, but he doesn't have time to decide. And so what does that bring? It brings interceptions. And Ty Williams had another last night, which takes him to 5 on the season. Corey Milliner had 2. He had a beautiful one-handed interception where he was in man coverage, was turned facing the receiver, wheels around, high points the football with one hand, and brings it in.
Right.
If you haven't seen that kid play corner, I know you've seen him play receiver, and he had about a 40-yard touchdown catch.
Is there a better player on Alabama-Mississippi roster than Corey Milner?
I don't know there's going to be a better corner. Let me finish.
Right.
Like, I think he's a great receiver. I think he could be an SEC caliber receiver. There's no doubt in my mind he's an SEC caliber corner. He's 6'3", he's lean, and he runs well, and he's got a really good demeanor about him when it comes to playing on the defensive side of the ball. He don't want to mess up. Like, he mentally thinks he's the best athlete out on the field.
Right.
And when you're a corner and you mentally think that, you play different because you don't want to screw up.
Right.
And every play you can screw up and screw up bad. And so I think I can't say enough good things about the staff, but their move to put him at corner is one that I don't think any staff we've had before recently that has had an opportunity to coach this young man,
right,
or really anyone that I've talked to thought about. But they moved him, and then that pick he had in the second half where
I'm
he
going
broke.
to tell you, I think he baited that quarterback pretty much all night because, you know, Llewellyn was able to roll out and throw it to Hale 3 or 4 times on that little, you know, comeback route where Corey kind of was 5 or 6 yards off the receiver, and it was an easy throw and catch for Helena to move the chains a couple of times. And I think Corey said, look, I know now they're going to go to that route a lot. They've gotten comfortable. I'm going to have my shot later in the game. And I think he baited him over there. And I may be wrong. I may be giving way too much credit to Corey on that. But if you go back and watch the film and go and see how that play played out, I think Corey baited him to throw that football over there, and he knew he was going to throw it, and he came up and he picked it off and he ran it down the sideline. So I think the mentality from the way he plays the position too is like, I'm going to give you a little bit early. I'm going to get you comfortable over here. And then when you go to that thing one too many times, I'm going to make you pay for it.
Because they're not going to go to the side too often.
That's right. And I think you literally used the first couple of quarters and letting him get comfortable, throw that pass, and say, look, I'm going to take that to the house later on. Keep throwing it. And I think that's where you are with it right now. So just tremendous football IQ on that side of the field. And like you said, keeps him engaged offensively and defensively, and he feels like he's the best player on the field, so he's going to play like that. But, this is not a one-man team. When you got an exceptional quarterback, usually in high school, they take the shine off of everybody. But, man, Gabe, as good as he is, a lot of times gets forgotten in our discussions because of so many great players on the offensive side of the ball that he distributes the ball
that he's making look good.
That he's getting the football to. It's just a common theme to just talk about what happens after the catch or what happens after you turn around and hand the football off to
Poor Chris Foster.
He's got a record of, I tell you, me and him kidded about it a few weeks ago, but it's the truth. Every time he has a big play, there's a flag on the field. It's every time.
He'd had 200 yards receiving last night, minus the flags.
Yeah, he was off to a phenomenal start, and we'll keep it right here to finish up. We'll catch up with another break. I just felt like Chris, at any point in time, is a guy could catch 10 balls in a game, and you look up and he's got 250, 300 yards receiving. That's not an exaggeration because he's a dynamic guy in the open field that you cannot grab. You cannot come up on him and make a tackle. The first guy down is not going to do it. You got to hem him up, allow people to come and help you, and then, it takes 2 or 3 to grab him. And so just so many dynamic weapons on offense. But, again, I go back to the way our defense is playing. They're playing lights out. They kept us and kept Helena backed up when we struggled not to finish drives early. And then once that thing got to 20-0, you could see Helena started pressing. It took their great running back out of the game, basically. We didn't really see him the rest of the night. And he is a phenomenal running back. He's a junior. He'll be back next year for them, and he looks the part. He's 6'1", weighs 210, 215 pounds. But we took them out of their element because we jumped up on them and forced them to change their game plan.
I'll brag on Coach Simmons again, and we bragged on a lot of the coaches. But defensively, it's so easy to watch and see if you're well coached to me. And we had such good coaching coming up here when I was being raised in this community. And Coach Martin was the top one.
Always on defense.
Defensively. And there are certain elements to defense that you can watch, and I can tell within 3 or 4 minutes whether they're well coached or not. One, do they let people behind them in the secondary? If you consistently let somebody behind you in the secondary, you don't know where you are. Because there's no one that's ever coached secondary that doesn't say the same thing to a 7-year-old. Just don't let him behind you. Keep him in front of you, make a play up on the ball. Right. Do you catch blocks? If you catch blocks, you're not playing physical enough to play on that side of the ball. And do you contain the edge? And if you don't contain the edge, if you don't come up and not catch a block and take on a block and force players back inside where you have help, because you ain't got no help outside.
Right.
You get beat on the corner, you got to luck up that a safety's able to angle him and get a tackle. So those 3 things are things that were always ingrained and great, and it ain't just here, it's anywhere. Go to Hoover, Alabama. I promise you they're ingrained in Hoover,
We're going to talk
Alabama.
about that game here coming up.
But those 3 things are things that I see us getting better and better with each week, and it doesn't happen. Players don't just do that. It takes coaching.
I know,
and I know we've got good coaching on that side.
I know you bragged on Brian and Caden just a minute ago, but I want to go back to Brian. If you'll remember, I went to one of the first practices in the summer, and you said, call me and let me know what you see up there. And I called and told you, I said, I don't know how it's going to end up playing out, but you better watch out for Brian Simmons. This guy, they can't keep him contained. They're having to blow the play dead because he's back there disrupting everything off the edge. And I remember telling you that, and you're like, really? I'm like, I'm telling you, watch out for Brian Simmons. And, dude, it is translated on the field. He is a pass rush specialist. That kid comes off the edge with about as much speed as anybody I've ever seen in our high school. That's serious. And, I coached Brian in baseball and football as a youth. And Brian's a quiet kid. He didn't say very much. And, I watched him grow to what he is now. And, Brian was overshadowed by some of these other players that he's grown up with. But, man, he's found his niche, and he knows that he's coming. He's bringing pressure, and he really creates a matchup problem for these big offensive tackles. They can't get out and get their hands on him, and a lot of times if they do, they have to hold to get him. If he gets past their shoulder, he's got a free shot at the quarterback, because a lot of times in the backfield, these teams will run these empty sets in the shotgun formation. There's nobody to chip him, nobody to pick up the block. How many times have we seen big-time hits by Brian Simmons from the backside on quarterbacks?
Really close last night, and if he gets that shot, it's another fumble inside the 20, and we're picking the football
every
up.
week. So,
and I've said it, so I'll say it one more time on Hyde. Last year did this.
He gets better.
Midway through the season to the end of the season, he may have been the best football player we had last year.
We put him on offense last year, and he scored a couple touchdowns.
And this year, midway through the season and on, he was good at the first of the year, but he wasn't standing out. And I wasn't calling his name all the time.
Right.
We get about 3 or 4 games in, it's like every play I'm calling his name.
That's it.
He just can turn it on, and gamers can do that. Gamers, I try to even tell the youth that I coach now.
Right.
You'll know when you're young whether a kid can raise his level of expectation of his play when things get tight. And if they can't, you don't trust them. And I'm telling you, I don't have to watch anymore on Caden Hyde. The game gets tight, things get more important. He's going to play better.
It makes him better.
It
It's
does.
just that people feed off that. The good players find a way to use that energy and up their game. Up against the break, stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Hey, honey, it's Mom. Just wanted to call and check in, see how everything's going. You'll probably say not to worry. Everything is great. But we miss you. I'll call you back later. How are you? Tell me everything.
Everything's great. I love it here.
Hi, I'm Scott Blake.
I'm Angie Richardson, and we are the loan team here at Movement Mortgage.
Whether you're a first-time home buyer or you've gone through the process before,
Our mission is to help you move forward with the purchase of your future plans. Call me at 256-397-2771.
or call me at 256-794-1003.
Scott Blake, NMLS number 527945. Angie Richardson, NMLS number 216556. Movement Mortgage supports equal housing opportunity, NMLS number 39179. For licensing information, please visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
This is Joseph Dean with Alabama Funeral Homes. As many of you are aware, we had a fire that significantly damaged our facilities. We are in the process of getting those rebuilt. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused the families that we serve. I want you to know that we are capable of handling all of your needs at Frederick Dean Funeral Home of Opelika, which will be servicing Alabama Funeral Homes families. We can be reached at our same number, 256-896-4502, or by email at joseph@alabamafuneralhomes.com.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Hey guys, this is Nate Paz with Airport Motors.
I'm Connor Branch with Fairway Auto Brokers in Opelika, Alabama.
And this is your first ever Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz.
That's right, Lake Martin. Airport Motors and Fairway Auto Brokers is teaming up for the very first Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz. Make sure to check out either website for the very best selection of pre-owned luxury trucks, SUVs, and sedans in East Alabama. Get pre-approved in minutes online and make sure to use the keyword Summer Blitz in the comments section for $500 off internet price. That's keyword Summer Blitz.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Eating and Air. We're almost done with the first hour. We ain't even got to the scores from last night. Man, there were some great football games across the state. Some region championships determined last night as region play pretty much closed out. One regular season game left for a lot of teams. Some teams are done waiting on the playoffs to start. Matthew said, so glad we had a game in Birmingham where we dominated one of their teams, even when we were going against the men in striped shirts. We go against the men in striped shirts every time. And I know it sounds like, man, I'm tired of hearing Brett and Randy complain. I swear, I think I did the first 17 or 18 years of my broadcasting and hardly ever talk. Because I used to have people come up and tell us, man, it's so nice to listen to y'all and listen to a broadcast where y'all literally don't say a word about the officials. Y'all just say, okay, there's a penalty on the play, and you move on. Because I feel like we've been forced to turn into a broadcast crew that really talks about officials as much as we do anything on the game, because it's so the discrepancy's so great. And I'm not saying that Benjamin Russell doesn't deserve the penalties they get. That's not what I'm saying. But every single time, this is a trend. This is not an outlier. When you go to Birmingham and you play these teams up there and you look down at the penalties, and if you aren't blowing the opponent out, it's probably going to cost you. Because you look down and you see, I got 12 or 13 penalties and they got 2 over here. And one of them was a false start, and they had to call the chop block because he about broke the guy's legs. So, you know, that's one of those deals where you're like, man, there's no way the discrepancy is that big. We are not a 7-2 football team committing that many more penalties egregiously than the teams that we're playing.
It was 15-1 at Homewood.
I don't know what it was last night, but
I have to go back to that. It's 15-1. They threw the first flag on them.
2 minutes.
With 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the ball game.
And it was a false start. So
I don't know that you have to give another example. Anybody that knows 16, 17, 18-year-old kids know they're not playing that perfect. We're not in the wishbone. We're not all tight. It's not just a basic ISO give up the middle anymore, and nobody's calling any
That was a
holding
prime
penalties.
example last night, and I said it on there. And you go back and watch the tape for yourself. The game was over. I mean, the game was in hand. We're up 40 points. But it doesn't diminish the fact that a penalty was made by Helena when Caden Hyde came off the edge. He literally pulled his jersey off. The quarterback rolling away from it, and the head official stared at the guy pull his jersey off and did not throw the flag. That was a personal choice by that guy. This is not one of those deals where you go, oh, well, it's 40 to nothing. I don't think I'm just going to keep my flag tucked in my pocket. You're out there to do a dadgum job, man. And you watched the guy literally in open field where it's in broad daylight. I'm not saying this is tucked in the line and, you know, it's iffy and, you know, everybody can't see it. This is like on center stage with a spotlight shining. Like in the middle of the field, and it's the 2 guys engaged and the head official. And it's like everybody's watching a play unveil. And you go, what did he just do? Did he just use his own discretion not to throw the flag? Yes, he knew that was a foul, and he chose not to throw the flag. That's what happened on that play, and I think that happens a lot up there. Again, you can get mad, and somebody can call in, and they can be pissed off if they live in that area or whatever, but just go back and watch the film. And if you can prove us wrong, then I'll be glad to eat my words. But there's no way in NFL football a team can go and only get 1 penalty. And them guys get paid.
And not the other team get 15.
And the other team get 15. The discrepancy, has nothing to do with us. Not saying that we don't deserve everyone that we get called for. But when the other team plays dang near a full football game and gets 1, that's a little bit, I don't know. I don't know what the word I'm trying to look. David said Tallapoosa County showed out last night. They did. Real-time Ben Russell Dayville. Looks like we will play Hueytown. That's right. In the first round, Benjamin Russell will go up to a Hueytown team. It finished runner-up in 6A last year to Clay Chalkville. They got a phenomenal quarterback that's on the Alabama-Mississippi squad. His name's Earl Woods, but Hueytown gives up a bunch of points. Hillcrest Tuscaloosa gives up a bunch of points. McAdory, they give up a bunch of points. Go look at their region scores. It's constantly in the 30s and 40s up there. So I'm looking forward to the challenge there. Matthew said not to mention reffing at Briarwood game at home. Well, we won't get into that. I know we got to get to break. When we come back, we're going to run some scores down, Randy, as we get into the second hour, and we got college football to talk about. We want your comments to continue to come through. If you want to call us, 256-234-6221 to be on the program. But we're going to go to the top of the hour break. We come back, we're going to run down some scores. Huge matchups last night and some big-time region champions for some of these high schools. Stay tuned. Second hour of Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City, Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry?
Forbes Auto Sales, located on Highway 280 in Kellyton, is all about selection and service. Selection of clean, sharp used cars, trucks, and SUVs selected by Robert Forbes himself. Service. Forbes Auto Sales is all about servicing vehicles on the lot, but also servicing your personal vehicle. Keep this in mind. If you don't see what you're looking for on the lot, just tell old Robert to go shopping for you. That's what he does. Personal service, and that's what it's all about at Forbes Auto Sales in Kellyton.
The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider, Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Why is Sarah Automotive Group on Highway 280 in Sylacauga the place for the best deals on your new ride? 3 compelling reasons. 1. With 3 full new car dealers on one lot, you get the best comparison and incentives on Fords, Hondas, and Nissans. Unmatched selection. 2. Sarah pays over market value for your trade to maintain East Central Alabama's best pre-owned vehicle selection and sales. And 3. The Sarah Automotive price won't be beat and delivers lower payments and huge value on your next buy. Shop online or on Highway 280 in Sylacauga.
To Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air here in hour number 2. Going to carry some high school over because I had a lot to talk about there in the first hour, and we appreciate the comments that are coming in, the phone calls, 256-234-6221 to be part of the program. We're not going to hit all scores. Again, the HSA Radio Network Scoreboard Show on every Friday from 10 to midnight. Luke and JJ did a good job. I watched it last night, running down these scores and having these interviews from all out throughout the state.
We'll run down about 3 or 4 from each classification that catches my eye. Auburn over Prattville last night to continue their strong play, 37-29. Auburn was up big early, and Prattville come storming back. They just couldn't get all the way back. Another key score there in Class 7A's Hoover. defeating Thompson and shutting them out in a great defensive fashion, 9-0 last night, Brett. That's one that.
Well, I think that game, we need to talk about that a little bit. Hoover scored with 3:30 to go in the first quarter, a touchdown. Thompson 4 times inside the red zone the first half, came away with no points. Had an interception and had stop on downs the other times and choosing to go for it. And I'm going to tell you something, man. Thompson has struggled offensively against several teams this year, especially with turnovers and some of those losses that they had. Really have struggled holding on the football. But last night they turned it over again in the red zone where points were at a premium. Hoover gets a safety late in the game to make it a 9-0 game with about 7.5 minutes to go in the game, able to hold on. But look, you can't say enough about the way Hoover plays defense, and that goes all the way back to Rush Probst. But really, Josh Niblett hung his hat on when they were just reeling off win after win after win, state championship after state championship. It wasn't that they were blowing people out offensively and it's just a circus show on offense. It was stalemate defense. It was like shut you down, almost boring type football because you could not move at all on those Hoover teams. This is what Hoover looks like this year.
Definitely does, and a great first-year job over there by Coach Waldrop at Hoover.
Absolutely. A lot of pressure taking that job over.
And lost the first game of the season and has played extremely well since. Another team to watch out for in Class 7A. You watch these scores, you know they go and get one of theirs, and they advance him. And he's their head coach, and Robert Evans now at Vestavia High School. And Vestavia Hills defeats Tuscaloosa County.
They've turned that program
59-18. He turned it around in a year. Let that sink in.
And because Vestavia had gotten pretty maligned.
He's going to win, and he's going to win big at Vestavia. It's coming. You can watch these scores. I know enough about him and how great a player he was, and
right.
How good the program was when he was there. And
got too much pride.
Buddy Anderson won a heck of a lot of football games, but it had kind of gotten away from Vestavia for a while at the end of his tenure. And they've beat around and tried to find a couple of coaches to fill that gap, and it hadn't worked out. And so far, they found really turned it around now, and they're scoring a lot of points. And I know they've got the enrollment, and they've got the numbers out for football.
Right.
You and I had a lunch meeting with a good friend of ours that son's over in that area, and he was talking about how many were out for ninth grade football and how competitive it was.
Right.
They're going to be great at Vestavia. So that's one I would watch out for. Carver Montgomery defeats Pike Road. You watched the game. Tell me about it.
Let me tell you about it. It starts with James Smith and Quay Rusall. Good luck, man. Those guys are as advertised. I was excited to see that Thursday night game. Pike Road's got a good football team, and Carver's only lost one game, and that was to one of the top teams in Louisiana. They went to Baton Rouge and played one of the top teams in Louisiana and lost. And really, back here in Alabama, they've had a lot of close games, but they've found ways to win. Their offensive line's not very good. They got a good quarterback that can move around and extend plays. But it starts and stops with their defense. And when you got two of the best players in the nation on your defensive line, I was thinking about that. Now, Pike Road's right tackle is going to the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game along with Quay Rusall, who he had to block all night. And you look at him, he's like, man, that's what I want in a tackle. I mean, I think he's like 6'4", 6'5". He looks like he's about 290 pounds, lean, really good footwork. Man, Quay Rusall got around him so fast, he made him look like again, this is a top lineman in the state, and he made him look silly a lot of times. And you know, those two guys are five-star guys for a reason, and James Smith is in the middle is unblockable. And, you know, he's 300 pounds, but he does not look 300 pounds. They put him in the backfield one time, and he just ran the ball behind the blocking of Quay Rusall. So how about trying to go up in there and make that tackle? You know, how fun is that? So they're a dynamic duo. They'll have a chance to make a run in 6A football because of them. They got some pieces around them, but they're a good football team.
Great win for Gardendale last night, coming back on Mountain Brook and winning the game late. It was a shock. Honestly, it's a shock to see Mountain Brook lose, but we know how good Gardendale is, and they are.
That's a top 10 matchup there. Gardendale's sitting in the top 10, so I think that they said, look, we can beat Mountain Brook, and they proved that they can.
Spanish Fort defeats Murphy last night. You know, the big game down south, though, was Saraland taking on Theodore, and Theodore winning that football game late.
Theodore came to Opelika a few weeks ago and got a big win. Kind of woke me up to them, and then I started watching their scores in the south part of the state. Knew this was for a region championship. Saraland had really taken it to everybody this year, but Theodore has kind of been the one under the radar. Theodore may be one of the best teams up and down classifications in the state, and Saraland's right there with them. They have a chance to meet up again, but there's a possibility. I'll just kind of look into the future a little bit. If things go well and the Wildcats can go on the road, and we're going to take it one game at a time, but if they can advance past the first round, there's a possibility we could see Theodore at home in the second round. Hey, and at that point, everybody's good at that point. Every week you're going to play a good football team. There is no easy path to a state title. So, hey, up for the challenge.
Sure. Central Clay, another winner last night, 26-14 over Russellville as we move into Class 5A. Elmore County over Holtville last night, 56-34. Very good win. Kyle Caldwell doing a tremendous job over there.
Let me tell you, to go from 0-10 last year, he inherits this program this year. Looks like they're going to go 7-3, barring some type of, just upset by Jemison next week to Elmore County. They're scoring a lot of points. One of their losses was to Central Clay. Another loss was to Beauregard. Those are the top two teams in that region. Hey, man, tip your hat to Kyle Caldwell. They're just getting started over there.
Pleasant Grove, one of the best teams up and down classification in the entire state of Alabama, and very well coached. Defeat Jasper 45-14 last night. Brett, can they get over the hump this year, I guess, is the question in 5A.
We'll see. 5A is, 5A.
I think it's open.
I was going to say, I think it's wide open for the taking. I don't think there's a team in 5A that just, I know UMS is good, and you look down Pleasant Grove, obviously is going to be a force. And I think there's a lot of opportunities in 5A for teams to jump up and take that reign. I know we're going to go into 4A, but you got to talk about that Catholic Andalusia game. It was 24-23, two 9-0 teams, and then Catholic ends up putting a lot of distance between them. Now, this Catholic team in 4A, man, it's going to take a monumental effort from somebody.
Definitely is. 45-23, and one of the teams that I was going to mention that may have a chance to cause problems is Anniston. You and I grew up with an Anniston program that when they're on the up and they got confidence, you don't want them. It's just a tough program to play. And you look at their score last night against, and we know Cleburne County cares about their football and normally puts a very solid product out there on the field. And Anniston beat them 42-0 last night.
It's eye-opening, man.
That in 4A is a team that I would watch. They beat Piedmont earlier in the year.
They beat Hanley too when Hanley was number one.
Yeah.
Hanley was number one, and that was a big matchup on a Thursday night. 49-14 Hanley over Munford last night. So this Anniston team, they have, in the north part, they've separated themselves a little bit, and Catholic kind of reigned supreme on the road against Andalusia last night, kind of separating themselves. So we could possibly see that matchup in Auburn, Randy, for a state championship game, Anniston and Catholic.
Wouldn't be surprised at all. I did want to make mention to a coach that we had here in Elliott City that picked up his 200th win last night. That's Phil Lazenby. As good as I've seen. Really, he won at a percentage level that still tops in our program in program history, and he won as a 6A coach all of those years.
I think he has the highest winning percentage of any head football coach at Benjamin Russell.
Yeah, he does, and it wasn't that he lucked into a program that fell back and one of the top. No, we were still one of the smallest schools in Class 6A.
2 state championship appearances.
Took us to a state championship his first year there in '97, which was our first trip to a state championship, and I think we were one of the 2 or 3 lowest enrollment. I'd like to know if there's ever been a top classification team with as low an enrollment number as ours to make a state championship run. That would still be something. But Phil Lazenby wins again last night at Bayside Academy, where he has built a program that has made it to a state championship game. And year in and year out, they win 8 or 9 football games, Brett. And we're not surprised every week.
Yeah,
to see
just
him
a
win.
great guy, and knows football as well as any coach that's ever come through the state, and he's got a hard-nosed style about him, but players respect him. That's what he did when he came to Benjamin Russell. We didn't have 100 guys standing on the sideline. If anything, he whittled it down because he only wanted the guys that wanted to do the things he asked of them. And so I think we had a team that had about 40-something kids on a roster, maybe 50 that first year, and he proved that it's not quantity, it's quality. And back when you only had 6 classifications, we went and played for a state title that year. So, yeah, Phil Asby, everywhere he's been, has been a phenomenal coach, and congratulations to him on 200. So, down in 3A, Randy, you talked about Dadeville and Randolph County earlier. Dadeville just, I'm telling you, we broke it down. Piedmont's good. They beat Oaks Bluff 28-7. You can go through here and find a few teams that are good. Mobile Christian's good. They beat Thomasville 34-7. But nobody in 3A is playing as good as Dadeville High School right now.
Hope they can get over the hump. I really do. I hope Reeltown has a great run. I'm sure hope Dadeville goes on and wins one. And always, thinking back to that game that Dadeville lost with Kyle Caldwell over at Thomasville, that I think every little yellow hanky that could possibly be thrown was slung down on the field against that group that night. And
they would have gone on to play Deschler in the state championship game, and I don't think it would have even been close.
They weren't going to stop Caldwell. And the coach, the Thomasville coach came up to us the following week. We were over to call the state championship game. He said, never been a player on our field as good as that one.
That's right.
And he had been there for a long time, and so
that's the truth. That is the truth. Closing out these scores before we go to break: Fife all over Eider, 41-0. They're the class of 2A, obviously, but Reeltown playing good football, and they're finding ways to win. They're forcing teams to play their style. They go on the road and beat a unbelievable Highland home team that's loaded with talent, and beat them 8-7. Like you said on the broadcast last night, scored a late touchdown. Decided we're on the road, it's for a region championship. We don't want to go to overtime down here. Let's try to roll the dice and get it right now. Got a 2-point conversion, won the game 8-7. A couple scores in 1A real quick. Brantley 34-6 over Red Level. These are the teams you need to watch. Maplesville 36-14 over Verbena. This was the biggest game in 1A last night. It was Leroy undefeated at a one-loss Milry team. Milry beats them 36-14. And so there's some teams down in 1A that you're going to watch and see kind of who comes out of that thing. Again, some great football across the state of Alabama last night, and one more regular season game before we head to the playoffs in a couple weeks. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City. Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry?
Forbes Auto Sales, located on Highway 280 in Kellyton, is all about selection and service. Selection of clean, sharp used cars, trucks, and SUVs selected by Robert Forbes himself. Service. Forbes Auto Sales is all about servicing vehicles on the lot, but also servicing your personal vehicle. Keep this in mind. If you don't see what you're looking for on the lot, just tell old Robert to go shopping for you. That's what he does. Personal service, and that's what it's all about at Forbes Auto Sales. in Kellyton.
The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider, Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Why is Sarah Automotive Group on Highway 280 in Sylacauga the place for the best deals on your new ride? 3 compelling reasons. 1. With 3 full new car dealers on one lot, you get the best in comparison and incentives on Fords, Hondas, and Nissans. Unmatched selection. 2. Sarah pays over market value for your trade to maintain East Central Alabama's best pre-owned vehicle selection and sales. And 3. The Sarah Automotive price won't be beat and delivers lower payments and huge value on your next buy. Shop online or on Highway 280 in Sylacauga.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. I think we're on in Birmingham. I think we made it. 45 minutes.
Thank you, Vincent, for getting everything straightened out up there.
Yes,
and
thank you.
We appreciate all of you that tune in normally each Saturday morning with Brett and myself and Scott Hardy and letting us know if there's technical issues. I can assure you we don't know about them until we hear. So thank you to James for calling in about an hour ago to let us know.
That's exactly right, James. We appreciate you more than you know, buddy. Hopefully we're coming through loud and proud up there in your area. Hey, let's start with the SEC slate today. There ain't much on the slate. Last week was the week you wanted to put about 2 or 3 TVs up, sit around, find your best beverage, or 10 or 12 or 24 if you're an Auburn fan, and watch college football. This one, not so much. Tennessee looks like they found some goalposts, so they will be able to play in Knoxville today against UT Martin at 11 o'clock here in a couple of hours. Tennessee still celebrating a huge win over Alabama. We'll go back and recap that game and last week's action here in just a little bit, but just kind of want to lay the groundwork. This one will be fun at 2:30. Ole Miss goes to LSU. Ole Miss just quietly 5-2. They lost a narrow game against Florida State to start the season, where I thought T-Bob Hebert was going to maybe go jump off a bridge somewhere down in New Orleans. He thought the end of the program, Brian Kelly, was terrible. They'd made a bad decision. The program had gone to crap, and it's not the case. You know, Brian Kelly, they did get beat pretty bad at home by Tennessee, but, you know, he's inheriting some issues. I think Brian Kelly's recruiting is good as anybody in the conference right now. I think he's going to get some things turned around. They got an opportunity at Ole Miss, who is not an unbeatable team, but has all the things you want in a team that's beatable. They're number 7 and they're undefeated. So they look on paper like, man, this is a big deal. They're going to Baton Rouge at 2:30. I think LSU will be up for the challenge. LSU's a 1.5-point favorite. What do you think?
Well, I think the national media and the pundits think exactly what I do. And if LSU were to win, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
No.
You know, you got to play defense at some point. And you have an inability of doing that, then you're going to be exposed even if teams that you're playing aren't up to the caliber of, say, Tennessee and Alabama this year offensively. Auburn last week was one to watch. I mean, it really was. When this Auburn team's got the ability to run for over 300 yards against you, there's a problem.
There's some issues. You know, Ole Miss on the flip side, they've got a chance to go to Baton Rouge, win, go to 8-0. They've got Alabama left, which is going to be a tough task, but they got the Egg Bowl left and then a cupcake. They got a chance to make a run here, man, and possibly only be 11-1 by the time the season's over. And have you seen the scenario where Alabama's got one loss, Georgia's got one loss, Ole Miss has got one loss sitting there? And Tennessee's got one loss?
Yeah.
What do you do, man?
Well, they would be the 4 best teams. You got anybody else you would
got
put
Ohio
in that
State
mix?
that you're going to
be the only one.
But that's what I'm saying, that you know they're not going to put 4 in. But if there's ever been a campaign to expand the playoffs, you might get it this year because, again, no, Ole Miss hasn't been to a championship game. They ain't even been to an SEC championship game. May not go this year, but they're going to sit there at 11-1, and they got a good football team. And so what do you do? I mean, yeah, they're not consistently that type of team, but when they do have a good team, they ought to get a shot, man. So I think expanding the playoffs is the right thing to do.
I think they got a chance, but it will never happen unless it's so clear that they can't not do that. I really don't believe they'll never put 4 in. Yeah, I know it, but they'll never put 4 SEC schools in if they've got an option of a one-loss team somewhere else.
Absolutely
I don't care
not.
if it's Michigan. I don't care if it's Ohio State.
They're gonna put
I don't care if they think that they won't match up as well, and neither one of those have matched up extremely well with the SEC. SEC's best now. Heck, anybody can match up with Auburn and beat us right now. I mean, so we're not. I mean, Vandy and other schools. I mean, yeah, the SEC top to bottom's not a team that beats. I mean, or a group that beats it. But our top 4 or 5 every year, nobody wants to play them.
That's true. When you're playing your best, whoever those top 4 or 5 are, they're probably the best in the country because of the schedule and the way things play out.
Look at Oregon.
So,
that Oregon against Georgia is all you need to see.
And they've been the top team in the Pac-12 since.
Bo Nix has played great football, really good football. Now, I mean, they've had their moments where they haven't been.
You think Oregon would play Georgia different right now?
Heck no.
Think it'd be a 49-3?
May not be 49-3, but it'd be 38-17.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 3 touchdowns apart, and that day they were 10 touchdowns apart if Georgia wanted to score as much as they could have.
True. Vanderbilt, Missouri. Does anybody care about that one? I mean, good Lord. Boy, that's
throw us in the
odds
mix.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, you only play 2 in a football game. If you add us in there, you're right. Mississippi State at Alabama. Not a good time for Mississippi State to make a trip to Tuscaloosa.
I don't know, though. This Alabama team's.
This is not a good time for Mississippi State.
I know it's probably not, Brett.
They have not, since Mike Leach has been at Mississippi State. You know how many points they've scored against Alabama? You ready? Drum roll, please. 9.
Ooh.
And Alabama just lost to Tennessee on the road. Yeah, just watch out, man. Probably going to be a bludgeoning. Will Rogers better be ready, man. 21-point spread by Alabama. I'm going to take that. I think Alabama wins by 21. Mike Leach, he ran, you know how many yards that Mississippi State ran for last week? And it's exactly what I told you at the beginning of Mike Leach's tenure. It's why they won't ever do anything significant at Mississippi State. They don't like to run the football. 22 yards rushing. I mean, he's like, I don't even want to run it. We're just going to throw it 60. No wonder Will Rogers has broken the record for most attempts and most completions, because that's all they do is throw the football. I mean, you can't not break the record when you snap it 75 times a game and 69 of them are passes. I mean, so Mississippi State, again, I'd be shocked if they went in there and challenged. They may be able to keep it, a semi-game through halftime, but I think Alabama will run away with it. Texas A&M and South Carolina. South Carolina's quietly 4-2, and this Texas A&M team is not very good. And that's a 6:30 game at South Carolina. That fan base, that stadium will be raucous in Columbia. I like South Carolina. I like South Carolina in the upset. I do, man.
I wouldn't be surprised with it. I mean, Texas A&M, you don't know what you're going to get week in and week out. I mean, you get the Texas A&M that defensively does what they did against Alabama.
Right.
Now, I know that they got the lucky draw of not having to deal with Bryce Young.
Yeah, but still, though,
for the most part, they still look really good, and they look physical, and they matched up with Alabama well, and they had a chance to make a play at the end of the game to win it. I mean, you know how easy Alabama could have 3 losses.
Very easy. I mean, a last-second field goal against Texas. You got the last play stop against A&M.
And they could be undefeated, too. So, I mean, I'm being fair.
That's a 50-50 flip of a coin. You're right, though. But they had one game they weren't able to pull off, but they had a chance to win that one. Will Reichard was down there with a chance to win the football game with 19 seconds. They had a field goal opportunity, and they missed it. So
I guess it's just surprising at this point in time in the era of Nick Saban that you even have 3 or 4 games is close. We've gotten to a point where if they don't win by 3 touchdowns, it's like, whoa, is Alabama coming back down to earth?
Well, I think, Jason Caldwell kind of said it yesterday on Auburn Blitz. He said, when teams have equal talent or maybe just a little bit lesser talent than Alabama, they tend to play close games. Now, unfortunately, there's not a lot of teams with equal talent with Alabama. That's why they have the discrepancy that they have more times than not. But usually you get a good close football game. If it's away, a lot of times it's different than playing at Bryant-Denny, but Alabama gets everybody's best shot. I know that part goes into it as well. But, again, 3 close games this year, but Alabama's won 2 of them. They still control their own destiny. So, really, it's all still laid out for Alabama. Tennessee-Georgia game, tickets are starting at $650 if you want to go see that game in Athens. It's going to be a big one, man. I think Georgia will win it, but that'll be a great atmosphere. Up against the break, we come back. I think we got a phone call holding. It might be Luke. I'm not sure. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
No monthly payments till after the holidays at Glenn Smith in Opelika.
Enjoy big discounts on Chevrolet Buick and GMC SUVs. How about a brand new Chevrolet Buick or GMC with no payments till next year? New Chevy Equinox as low as $329 a month. New Buick Enclaves up to $5,000 off. New GMC Terrains up to $6,000 off.
Get 0% financing, no payments till next year at Glenn Smith in Opelika. Get ready to smile.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full-service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Gorees Furniture.
Your express way to saving.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Talladega Outdoors in Talladega is your authorized Kawasaki sale and service center. Your home for Bad Boy mowers and Kimco scooters, four-wheelers, and side-by-sides. Rather for hunting, land management, or recreation, they have the ride for you. But they are also everything outdoor with full lines of accessories and is now your Ariat workwear and boot store, along with kayaks and outdoor accessories. Talladega Outdoor, Highway 21 in Talladega. Everything outdoor and Alabama's #1 Kawasaki dealer.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill, Sunshine Heating and Air. Let's go back to the phone lines. James, you're on Saturday Sports Countdown again, brother.
Yeah. How you doing?
Doing good, buddy. How are you?
Well, I'm a lot better now. I don't know what the I think Philippe's coming on. I'm going to cut it real short. Did Benjamin Russell win last night?
Yes, sir, they did. They won 47-14.
Great. I watched that Hoover Thompson game. Boy, it was some game.
It was. It had to be. It was a defensive battle.
I'll tell you something else, too. You just got a quarterback out there. It's Coach Floyd's son. That kid is something else. he's got to get bigger. But I tell you, he can throw, he can run, he can do the whole thing.
You know, Hewitt looks up, and they're number 6 in the state every year, and they demolish everybody. They got 2 nemesis in their region. You know, if Hewitt was in another region, they'd probably have 6 or 7 region championships.
In a row.
That's how good their program is, but they just, for whatever reason, can't get over the Hoover and Thompson hump. So
I said they can't get over that hump with Hoover and
that's right.
Thompson. But
that's right.
Anyway, enough of that. I was just going to let you know.
James.
Luke, when he comes on, spend some money, buy that station in Birmingham, and train a chimpanzee. And then that's where it always comes from up here. But I, by God, kept fussing this morning. It's all in Birmingham. It ain't y'all's fault. I know that. But I'm glad we got on. That's all. I didn't want to talk so much as I did want to hear it. Because Saturday morning is a real good blitz for me. Because I like to listen to all the high school stuff, too. But y'all do a great job, and we'll just keep working on this station up here because I tell you, it's all them. It ain't y'all. Shit. Hell, yeah, but if you get Luke to buy that station and run it, like I say, get him a chimpanzee from the zoo, feed him some bananas, and he'll know what to do. So.
James, we appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much. We always enjoy your phone call.
All right, take care.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate it. We'll go back to the new owner of the station in Birmingham, Luke Robinson. Luke, thanks for joining us.
I've been busy trying to finalize this station deal.
Is the ink dried on the paper yet?
No, it hadn't dried on the paper yet. I'm trying to find a chimpanzee to help me run it like you
I tell you, man, we're glad to be on in Birmingham, and we can't thank James enough for watching our program and letting us know when we're not. Hey, it's all you out there, and shows the love and the compassion, and we can't say enough about it. Luke, let's dive in. Alabama coming off a tough loss on the road to Tennessee. It's a regular season game at the end of the day. I know there was a lot of a luster around it for Tennessee because they hadn't beaten y'all in 15 years. So I know Alabama's still controlling their own destiny. That's all that's important. I just told Randy I don't think it's a very good time for Mississippi State, who scored 9 points against Alabama since Mike Leach has been there, to make a trip to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I think, first of all, it was a great scene for college football. I mean, as an Alabama fan, you hate to lose any game ever, but as a college football fan, it was a really cool scene. And, it's been kind of fun watching Tennessee fans sort of find themselves again. I mean, they have really jumped all over this bandwagon now. And I'm going to tell you what's going to be really bad for them and what's going to be tough is when they lose that first game or maybe that second or third game this year, because I think they're a really good team, and I think they could go to the playoffs. But what happens a lot of times is you get a big win like this under your belt. If you're not used to it, you can really start to slip up because, teams start to think, well, we've made it. Here we are. We're at the mountaintop. And it doesn't work that way. But I will say that I thought the scene was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. And as a college football fan, I certainly appreciated Tennessee's victory. I think today is going to be a little different. Not necessarily because Alabama's looking for somebody to take out its angst on. I mean, I don't know that this team's built like that. Just as you said, Brett, Alabama has won the last 2 games against Mississippi State 90-9. This is a Mike Leach offense that's supposed to, have all this offensive firepower and they sling it all over the field. Well, they only scored 10 points against Kentucky last week. The other 7 points came from a pick 6. So, just as I thought from the beginning, I don't think this Mike Leach thing works long term in the SEC. It can work. Let me put it this way: it can work as long as you find with 7 or 8 wins every single year. If that's what you're good with, then I think Mike Leach is a pretty good coach, and you could occasionally upset a bad LSU team in Baton Rouge, or you can upset some of these other middling programs occasionally. But you're not going to beat consistently, at least, a Georgia, Alabama, a Tennessee this year or something like that. It's just not in the cards. His recruiting would have to pick way up for that. He can make some games interesting just because of the unique style of offense. But in the end today, I don't know if I'd take Alabama minus the 21, but I think Alabama wins by double
Yeah, I told Randy I am going to take the 21. I think that's I think Alabama coming off, and again, I hear what you're saying. I don't think they're built like that again, but I think Bryce Young. I'm doing this more on Mississippi's lack of being able to score a couple of times this year. One being on the road at LSU, and then, of course, last week, like you said, against Kentucky, I'm not very impressed with the way their offense. And I think Alabama's going to come out to try to prove a point. So I like the minus 21 in favor of Alabama. Let's look forward here, Luke. Again, controlling your own destiny is the important thing if you're Alabama. Georgia and Tennessee is going to be the game that determines the East. I think tickets starting at like $650 to get into that game. If you want to, if you don't have a ticket already and you're trying to get in, it's going to be a minimum of that in Athens here in a few weeks. But you know, if Tennessee is able to get over the Georgia hump, it is very likely that Tennessee and Alabama could rematch in the SEC championship game. And again, you know, I know Alabama would love nothing more than to get another shot at them.
Well, and again, we won't know the winner of that game until the same weekend as Alabama LSU. But if Tennessee is able to beat Georgia, then the matchup in Atlanta will either be, assuming again LSU beats LSU today, which is probably a pretty big assumption, but it could be either Alabama Tennessee rematch, which would be electric and a huge ticket, or it'll be Lane Kiffin against Tennessee, which would also be a huge ticket. So, I mean, I think those are about the only two options left if Ole Miss is to win today and Tennessee were to beat Georgia. But, you know, one thing I did take away from that game last weekend, and I've rewatched some of it, as painful as it is for me, that there's no doubt in my mind Bryce Young is the best player in the country. I mean, that dude took hit after hit. He was getting very little help from his receivers. The offensive line didn't play a great game. There were so many reasons that he should have been ultra frustrated and played poorly, and instead he stepped his game up. And he had Alabama. He did have Alabama in a position to win that game. And some of the coaches, I thought, let him down. Some of the receivers let him down. Yeah, if they play again, I'm going to bet on Bryce Young every single time. I mean, I just think he's a special, special talent. And that's why I'm going to the game today. You know, I wasn't going to go to Alabama, Mississippi State, not just because I'm, you know, despondent about the loss last week, just because it gets tough during the week. You know, I drive down to Alex City every single day for work, and then, you know, I've got stuff to do for our shows and stuff to do for the scoreboard show. And I was like, you know, I got to coach soccer today. And I'm like, I'm just kind of tired. I think I'm going to chill out. And then it dawned on me that at the very most, I've got 8 more times to see Bryce Young in person. And I was like, I'm going to go see it. I mean, I don't want to be the guy that was like, I wish I'd gone and see him play in person more. So I have an opportunity to go, and I'm going to go. Because really, Bryce Young is the main reason, just because I think he's that much of a generational talent. So if Alabama and Tennessee play again, I would bet on Bryce Young. As good as Hendon Hooker is, I think Hendon Hooker is great. I think Bryce Young is just built different.
Some good quarterbacks out there. C.J. Stroud has thrown 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Bryce Young's thrown 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Will Rogers, how about this, Mississippi State? 23 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, already thrown for almost 2,400 yards. So if you're looking at just stats right now, Will Rogers is phenomenal, but the results aren't as good as the other 2 teams I mentioned. But, Luke, we got to run to a break. We're behind. Enjoy your weekend, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Up against the break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
Hey, it's Brett Pritchard, and I'm here to tell you all about Sims Foods, who you know better as Wickles Pickles. Wickles Pickles, that 90-year-old recipe, wickedly delicious. Relish, okra, and pickles. From Saturday sandwiches, tailgate snacks, to holiday dinners with your family and friends. From their family to yours, Wickles Pickles, those wickedly delicious pickles.
Wickles Pickles, wickedly delicious pickles.
Okay, somebody's not wearing their seatbelt.
I don't wear seat belts. Might wrinkle my shirt.
That's okay. I'm sure they can iron it before the funeral.
What funeral?
Yours. Almost 70% of people who die in car crashes aren't wearing a seatbelt.
Okay. There. You happy?
Just happy to be alive.
Seatbelts. It's hard to live without them. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal. The encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
It's truck season at Glen Smith and Opelika.
We have an excellent selection of Chevrolet Silverados and GMC Sierras with giant October discounts and no payments till next year. New Chevrolet Silverados up to $7,500 off. GMC Sierras up to $8,500 off.
No payments till next year during truck season at Glen Smith and Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Very quick segment here. Auburn off this week, but they've got the stretch coming up, and don't see very many wins left. They've got Arkansas, Mississippi State, Alabama, Western Kentucky. Here's the big deal about Auburn is they've got a new president. Basically, has been on the job 3 months. They're about to hire an AD. And Andy said it yesterday, they had a chance to start afresh, and we kind of analyzed what we felt like has been the problem with Auburn for the last 30 years. It's been administration. I mean, it all circles back to that. They're the ones that make the decision, and then they're the ones that put the clamps on the guys that run the program, good, bad, or indifferent. So they've got to make a decision, and it's like Andy said, boosters aren't going anywhere, but you've got to galvanize the boosters to be supportive. The role of boosters and the role of administration is to give the things to the coach that they need to be successful. It's the coach's job to win football games. They got to tell you what they need, but give them what they need and get out of the way. Don't try to run the program. And Auburn's done that. Alabama did it up until Nick Saban. They went through coach after coach after coach because everybody had an idea of what they thought was best. And then Alabama ends up having to basically go down and beg Nick Saban, and the rest is history. But that's been the problem, and the consistency level of why you can't get on the same page is really beyond my thoughts at this point.
Well, you and I have had, I guess in some cases, the honor of serving on many committees that do hiring, and it's hiring that even in small communities like ours are important and you care about. And the thing that I've always been a part of that has worked out, because some haven't worked out, some of the hires that you make don't work out, is you've got to have a list of things that candidate has to bring to the table to make this successful. And the number one thing that this candidate has to bring to the table at Auburn University is that sucker's got to be able to recruit. If he can't figure the recruiting out, it's hard to get behind him. I always go out and defend our boards, the people that give so much money to the university, and to what happened this summer. But what happened this summer is based around things that you and I have been hearing for 2 years now, excuse me, for the last,
you're right.
18 months now.
Right.
And that's the inability to put a plan together that can win on the recruiting front. The inability to go out and make any inroads here in the state of Alabama with high school coaches. When AL.com and others around the state are writing articles and calling high school coaches like Mark Freeman at Thompson High School and asking how many times has Auburn University's head coach been in your building to meet your kids, and the answer is none, then you made a poor decision up front.
You sure did.
Because that man did not have a plan on one of the key elements that you've got to be able to strike off. And so I hope and pray. I have very little confidence at this point.
Not with this staff. Not with this group.
No, I have very little confidence at this point with Auburn University to get it right. I hope. We've got a new president. We're going to have a new athletic director. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but I've been an Auburn fan for a very long time, and when we make some decisions, it'll make you scratch all your hair off of your head when it comes to football. Whoever it is got to be able to recruit. If you don't take the recruiting and put the Bows and the Joes and Auburn helmets out there to compete with Alabama and Georgia, you're going to keep getting – and I'm sick of losing to them too.
Yeah, I've had enough.
I can get behind all of the other stuff and all the excuses that you want to throw out there on it's Nick Saban. He's not going to always be there, and when he's not there, well, who's to say whoever they go get next doesn't keep recruiting?
I was about to say they're going to keep going. If not, they're going to be out.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a level of expectation now that they've got to meet. So, look, quit worrying about everybody else and just say, look, we decide we want to do better. We want to be a top program that we know we're capable of doing because we've proved that we can. But instead of going to the top of the mountain and then falling off the backside, how about stay up there for a little while? You know, we climb up the mountain, get there, and we jump off. We leap off the back end of the mountain. So it's just one of those things.
I firmly believe the reason for that is that we do not have overall better players than our key competitors.
Right.
You can go get a Cam. You can go find a Nick Marshall. You can put together a great scheme. You can keep people off balance. And 2010 and 2013 can happen, and we get behind them, and we deserve at Auburn a really good product. That's how good our fan base is.
No doubt
I truly believe that.
I agree with that.
But you got to be able to recruit, and Auburn has not. Even when Gus Malzahn was finishing 10-12, you and I did this show. I'm going to always say it because it stuck out to me so much. Auburn finished 10th or 11th in recruiting one of Gus Malzahn's last few years. In the top 300 recruits on the ESPN, we got 10. Alabama got 26. They finished 1 or 2. We finished 10 or 11.
Right.
If you would like to say 10 or 11 is good enough, then keep expecting to lose to Alabama or Georgia 4 out of 5 times, and you luck into beating them at home every once in a while.
Here's the problem. You've been recruiting to a high level and having 40, 45 4- and 5-stars on your roster. They're down to like 32 now, and you're going to lose half of them after this year. That's where it's got.
Yeah.
That's how far down.
So the answer to the committee and whoever's making the decision has to be around. And you will go after a year and try to run them out if they don't get that straightened out.
No.
And I think Auburn fans, including me and yourself, if Auburn was recruiting at like 5 or 6 right now,
wouldn't be talking
could
about
care
all this.
less.
We say, look, man,
Just hang in there with him.
Sometimes you got to eat one and take one. We got to look toward the future, and we got some top players coming in. We know we're going to get this thing righted. Right now, it's opposite of that. So I know we've run over. We've kind of been off on our break, so we're going to have to go ahead and end the show now, maybe catch up here on the back end. But, again, I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. Again, appreciate the patience up there in the Birmingham and northern part of Alabama with that. We're going to try to continue to work and make sure that gets on at the right time. Again, we appreciate all the phone calls and the comments on Facebook Live. For Andy Lee, I'm Brett Pritchard. Say it. We have enjoyed it. We hope you have. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Concrete Basement and Walls, LLC, 205-229-0234. Call owner Eric McKenzie now to get your free quote now. 205-229-0234. Concrete Basement and Walls, LLC.
So, you finally got the boat, ATV, or side-by-side of your dreams, huh? But make it yours with marine-grade audio that'll provide crisp, high-quality sound that's loud enough to be heard, whether you're cruising on the lake or hitting a mud hole. Come see Steve at the Car Stereo Shop in Auburn, so you'll be ready to crank up the volume. Whoa, but wait, you don't have to pull out of the water and trailer it to Auburn. The Car Stereo Shop can handle all of your work at any one of the Lake Martin marinas.
Finding a job might be tough, but starting your new career has never been easier. Wellborn Cabinet in Ashland has a wide array of career opportunities with benefits. General labor production, skilled cabinet builders, product assembly line, shipping, over-the-road truck drivers, clerical, marketing, security, daycare, office clerks, and so much more. Apply in person, 38669 Highway 77 South in Ashland, or online at wellborn.com. Building cabinets, building careers, and building our community.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
At Russell Medical, we're proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are. I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
So you want to build a home? Build the home you want with America's Home Place. Choose from over 150 floor plans, then personalize. Tile backsplash with granite countertops? Done. A spacious bathroom you've always dreamed of? You got it. Choose every detail, floors, cabinets, even the paint color.
How about electric lime?
Can't decide? Relax. At America's Home Place, we take care of it all. It's your home. Own it. America's Home Place.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
Are you looking for something really good for lunch? Are you tired of the same old fast food? Well, go to Buck's. Get a meat in 2 sides or a meat in 3 sides for the best deal in town. Buck's always serves up the best food, including fried chicken, wings, hamburger steaks, catfish, shrimp, and yes, of course, the famous Buck cheeseburger basket. And Buck's has dinner specials too. So if it's your turn to cook dinner, Buck's will be glad to do it for you. We appreciate your business and look forward to serving you.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Why is Sarah Automotive Group on Highway 280 in Sylacauga the place for the best deals on your new ride? 3 compelling reasons. 1, with 3 full new car dealers on one lot, you get the best in comparison and incentives on Fords, Hondas, and Nissans. Unmatched selection. 2, Sarah pays over market value for your trade to maintain East Central Alabama's best pre-owned vehicle selection and sale. And 3, the Sarah Automotive price won't be beat and delivers lower payments and huge value on your next buy. Shop online or on Highway 280 in Sylacauga.
Concrete Basement and Walls LLC, 205-229-0234. Call owner Eric McKenzie now to get your free quote now. 205-229-0234. Concrete Basement and Walls LLC.
So, you finally got the boat, ATV, or side-by-side of your dreams, huh? Then make it yours with marine-grade audio that'll provide crisp, high-quality sound that's loud enough to be heard, whether you're cruising on the lake or hitting a mud hole. Come see Steve at the Car Stereo Shop in Auburn, so you'll be ready to crank up the volume. Whoa, but wait, you don't have to pull out of the water and trailer it to Auburn. The Car Stereo Shop can handle all of your work at any one of the Lake Martin marinas.